All right, everyone, some potentially exciting news that we got during the trading day today. President Trump coming out and saying that there's a very, very big announcement and a very positive and really, really big as it gets. I think, if I'm paraphrasing right now, he didn't necessarily say it all completely that consecutively, but that's the essence of his message coming out. And I would talk a little bit about what that could mean, what we could speculate from that. And the market actually did pop up a little bit when he did say that. So we'll talk about that in this video. We'll also take a look at the markets and talk about what we could see on Wednesday for Jerome Powell and put that lined up with what Trump had to say. As a matter of fact, I'll even play the clip for you. We'll kick things off there, and then we'll take a look at the charts, and we'll also talk about that FOMC meeting, which concludes tomorrow. We get the interest rate decision at 2 p.m., and then at 2:30, Jerome Powell comes out and speaks. And I think it's going to be a pretty wild ride. I have my short hedges in place. I'll talk about that in a moment. In the meantime, let me put this up here for you on the screen so that you can see it. And it says Trump hosts Canada's Prime Minister. Just take a listen real quick.
UAE and Qatar. And that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then, we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive.
All right, well, there you go. You got the essence of the message from the video, from the horse's mouth himself there, talking about what he has coming up Thursday, Friday, maybe even Monday. So he didn't necessarily set a specific date, but all of it does follow the FOMC meeting. So if we get a potential rip downward from the FOMC, then we potentially have that ride back up, depending on what it is that we get from that. So I have a little bit of speculation to share with you. We'll talk about it. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments of this. Now, mind you, I am part of a Discord with other expert panelists, and I am the expert of the week. You might see that up here on your screen. And this is what I posted at 1:04 p.m. So within an hour of him coming out and saying this, and I even say it right here, within the last hour, gave the link to it, a very, very big announcement, some ideas of the nature. One, will we hear a Bitcoin/crypto related announcement? That's one thing that I think we could potentially hear. And I think even Bitcoin may have reacted a little bit to that. So we'll go ahead and watch that. We know that he wants to start that. The other thing that I think is very, very big is the U.S. Sovereign Wealth Fund. So I don't know if you can see that right there on your screen. That's another thing that I think is worth paying attention to and worth entertaining, because that could also be significant, we'll say, moving forward. Don't know if it would have how much of an immediate market impact it would have. Possible tariff progress, which could be very positive for markets, if he's talking about very positive. Now, mind you, later on, I do believe that he said that he hasn't personally been in trade talks with China, so that might rule that out if he doesn't have anything to say, unless that talk is happening sometime in the very near future, and he's anticipating good results coming out of that. But it could still be tariff progress from between the United States and other countries from throughout the world. Tax cuts for U.S. citizens would also be very, very big and very, very positive. So we could look for that as well. I think the market would like that. Doge dividend checks is another one that I had put down here. If we have some sort of announcement coming our way from that, I think that could also be huge. And it's also possible that there's some unrelated event. Now, mind you, if you guys, like I said, if you have other ideas, put it down in the comments or let me know what you think about what I've put out there. I think that we could potentially have some pretty significant upward market impacts based on the announcement that we get. And I think it's worth keeping our fingers crossed to see what it is that he has to say. And we'll see what we get coming out of that Federal Reserve meeting, if Jerome Powell comes out more hawkish, or if the market takes it in some negative way, or if maybe even the market takes it in that positive way and we see that break finally up above the 200-day for the QQQ, for SPY, tracking the NASDAQ at 100 and S&P 500 respectively. With that said, I think it's time that we get over into the charts on TradingView. So let me put these up here for you, and we'll start taking a look at the charts that we have. And there we go. That's the one. Pop it up. Transition. Bam. Here we go. So right here for you, QQQ. I put up these technicals, and I did update them a little bit since I last posted them over at the Discord. But I will say that we have heavy resistance up here. It's a potential that we have an island reversal. We did have a minor gap that was in here for today, but that gap did get filled as the market ran up today before it sold down into the close and we closed lower. We did close right at about the 5 EMA. That's important for us. We do have a gap over here, and there's a gap also down here, way down here to fill. We do have low volume relative to what we've had recently, going all the way back to I would say the 20th of February. Before that, we even had a little bit more subdued volumes as the market sort of chopped sideways during that time, and the heavier volumes coming with the sell-off, the recovery, and then the further recovery that we had since that time. But again, even though these are slightly elevated from prior to February the 20th, the volume that we got in the beginning to middle of April was even more significant. So we'll see what we get. I think the market is hedging itself. I gave some evidence to that earlier with the gold prices moving up. Bitcoin, I think, is also one of those areas. This is the weekly chart. Let's take it down to the daily, where we'll also find some hedging as well. TLT, you'll notice if we look today, we'll stretch it out for you, put it in the middle of your screen. A bit of an engulfing candle, but no volume conviction. The RSI is also down below 50. Long-term treasuries are just still not in fashion at this point in time. And really, Jerome Powell would have to come out and point to something related to the word recession, I would think, in order to really drag the markets down. And the trouble is that, with the long-term treasuries that we have is it's not just a matter of money printing, because there's already a bit of a debt crisis, and the question out there for that debt crisis of, well, okay, well, how does the U.S. continue to manage it? And that's one of the battles that's currently going on. So if we hit recession, how does the money printer turn on in a sustainable way for us, where the debt, the interest payments from the U.S. government don't get away from us? So that's something I don't necessarily think would be in our best interest in the near term. Keeps me a little bit cautious. I paused my dollar cost averaging for TMF right now, but I do have a healthy position in it that I'm okay with holding on to right now, and I am diversified. I do have money in long positions as well, although I did put out some very aggressive short-term hedges, being that tomorrow's that huge catalyst with the FOMC meeting, trying to protect my other long positions that I have out in the market right now. So back into the charts on this one, and just to give a little bit more commentary for what we see on QQQ, if it pops up here, there we go. We're still above the 50. We could still have that 13, which is this yellow moving average, cross up over this red 50 that we have moving across here. And if we do, this massive resistance that's up here, this heavy resistance that we have, includes with it, let me take down the EMAs, put up the SMAs. The 200-day is this orange line that you see coming across here, and it just so happens to be sitting right at the bottom of this resistance area that we have that goes all the way up until just about $500 per share for QQQ. And if we go out to the monthly chart, we just so happen to, let me spread that out there for you, and let's put up the EMAs. There we go. We're just down below that 5 EMA. And if we move over to the SPY and we look at the weekly chart for the SPY, we're above the 13 and we're close just below the 13, but we're above the 50. And so right now, kind of a mixed area, if you will. But if we take those down and put up the simple moving averages, we actually got a fairly significant rejection off this 50 SMA on the weekly chart for the SPY. And if we go to the weekly chart for the Qs, and let me take down the EMAs on this one, there we go. You can see that rejection that we also got off the 50. If we get the 20-week crossing over the 50-week, that could be a bearish thing for us. The RSI just down below 50 for the Qs. For SPY, the RSI on the weekly chart also just down below 50. Another reason why I took out those short hedge positions. IWM, I said 200 would give us some resistance. We're down at 196 right now. On an exponential moving average basis, for these very near-term indicators, we closed just down below the 5, but we're above the 13. So still above the 13 is a good thing. Below the 5, near-term, not great. We did get rejected off this 50 EMA today. Not great for us. If we move up the simple moving averages here, there we go. Put these up. You can see that we also got that rejection off the 50 period simple moving average that's on here as well, but we're still above the 20. So we have a lot of reasons. I'm going to keep on reiterating this. We have a lot of reasons near term to keep our fingers crossed and be hopeful that the market moves up from now. One of the things that we got, and I can put it up on screen here for you, one of the things that we got from the Atlanta Fed was actually an update today. So we went from 2.4% for the initial estimate for Q2. Now, mind you, that was just off of what we got for personal income and outlays at the end of quarter one. But just we went from 2.2% down, 2.4% down to 1.1% on May 1st, I believe it was. And then May 6th, which is today, we got the update, taking it back up to 2.2%. And like I said, I can put that up on screen for you. So let's go ahead and do that. So all I need to do is just click over to this tab, and here it is, the Atlanta Fed. There we go. Thursday, May 8th is the next update. That what we got up here, it says 2.2%. And you can see that little V shape that we've made so far from 2.4 down to 1.1 back up to 2.2. It's going to be volatile. It's going to keep on chopping around like that. But like I said, we have technical reasons on the charts as per the moving averages, as per the RSI, we have reasons to be hopeful, but we also have those reasons, to be a little bit skeptical right now, and reasons why I have those short hedges out like I do. We have some pretty pressuresome catalysts coming up ahead of us. The FOMC meeting is certainly one of those things that we really want to hear the commentary that the Fed has to say. What sort of case are they looking at right now in terms of what's the impact that they're noticing for tariffs, or that they anticipate from the tariffs now that they know a little bit more, since it's post-Liberation Day, post-April the 2nd. Now we actually know what was intended. We also know that some of it was delayed for that 90 days. And then we also know about the tensions between US and China. And hopefully Jerome Powell comes out with that commentary and actually speaks to what he thinks the impact of those tariffs is going to be. And if he downplays the impact of those tariffs and he thinks that inflation is going to be pretty steady anyway, that's not a bad message for us. Now, mind you, if he talks about the Fed is still worried about runaway inflation, that they don't know the full impact of the tariffs, and they keep on casting a bunch of uncertainty out there, and they say that it's probably going to cause significant economic weakness, well, that starts to put a lot of downward pressure on the markets, and we also have to be watchful for what exactly is said and what the market's reaction is to the way that Jerome Powell speaks. So we have our reasons to be cautiously bullish, that we could move up from here, but we also have a lot of reasons to be doubtful. And I'll tell you what, we are kind of on that seesaw, that teeter-totter, whatever it is that you want to call it, just that knife's edge for which way we could fall with this market. I mean, we also have that choice that it chops sideways. I just still think that volatility is going to be hanging around for a little while, and it's going to be messing with us for a little bit more. Now, mind you, over at the Discord, we've been fairly good at navigating these markets for when they're selling off, that we capitalize on those movements, and when they recover, that we capitalize on those movements. And throughout the choppiness in between, reading it, bringing the updates to you every day through the different channels that we have. I have my own expert panelist channel over there. There's other expert panelists over there as well. Stocks, cryptos, bond market, you name it, broad market. I tend to do a little bit of everything. Stock Mode tends to do a little bit of everything, including live trading as well over there twice a week, I believe that it is. So you can check that out. The products, services, you name it. You can click on the link in the description for the Discord and check out what the earner tier says. That's what's going to get you access to everything in there, including asking the experts, where you can ask your question and at least one of us gets back to you generally within 24 hours worth of time with an answer to help you out with what it is that you need. And then there's the bread bot over there that can tell you when massive movements are coming with your favorite plays. There's AI tools, advanced charting tools, you name it. It's there waiting for you. So I just want to put up the charts just for another quick moment here before we wrap up the video. So for gold prices, remember up here for the gold prices, we did not last time have the momentum. There were a lot of signs that I gave in the last video that I did talking about this particular day on April the 22nd for why I didn't think that we would break through that resistance. We got that rejection. We sold off a little bit. And if I put up the simple moving averages here, what you'll see is that 20-day is acting as a fairly good support for us. So even though it fell down through this support down here, it caught support at the 20-day and then recovered along with the market weakness that, or I should say the mixed market, the hedging that's currently going on, the evidence that we have for it. Bitcoin is actually playing a pretty good part in it as well, even if it's had a little bit of a mixed bag recently. By the way, got stopped out on my call option for Bitcoin at 9% before it went and ran some more, but I'll still take the 9% profit on it on a very aggressive options play that I had out there, on top of all the other wins that I had using options with IBIT was actually the ticker that I used for that Bitcoin ETF. So for Bitcoin, I still think long-term that we could have some massive things coming. And I'll tell you what, if that announcement is more about the United States government and leaning more heavily into the crypto side of things, the crypto market could go bonkers on that. If we're talking about Doge dividend, that's in and of itself is a form of money printing, but quantitative, it puts money in people's pockets, makes it easier to spend. The market should also take that in pretty favorable light. So we want to keep our eyes open for Trump's big announcement, very, very big announcement, Thursday, Friday, Monday, whenever it is that he comes out and makes that announcement. I think some of it might depend on what we hear from Jerome Powell and what that does to markets. And I got to say, if we rip downward based on what we hear from the Fed, then that big announcement, if it is something that hits the markets, that can give us that potential to rip back up again. Something that I'm really watching for, and I'll leave you with this, guys. Something I'm really watching for is if we do in fact happen to sell back down, because I do like cheap stocks. I do like those lower prices. When the market's down, it gets so awesome, the incredible opportunities in order to be wildly bullish about the movement that they can make next. We saw some of that effect last time and just how quickly it can happen. I'm watching for that drawdown to the 23.6 that I talked about weeks ago in my video. I'll put that up in another video here coming up soon, that we see that pull back to where we did during this previous market low that we had, because I think a double bottom, should we get to that point, if the market doesn't rally from here and go bullish, if instead it drops down first, I'm looking for that double bottom to come into play for us, unless we have further news, which I don't think we're going to get yet. As of right now, I think the worst case scenario that we see in the near term is a double bottom, which that's a sell-off. That's why it's bad news. But a double bottom is a bullish sign, which means that there could be incredible opportunity to follow. But that's a story for watching it play out in the markets. You guys, if you subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell to see when the videos come out. You can see my updates as they come out here on YouTube. And if you want more up-to-date information, you can check it out over at the Discord. Links in the description. See my buys and sells and my other analyses as well as the trades of the other panel experts that are over there. And you can join a community of thousands of members that are already chasing financial freedom, and we're there to support them. And then also putting that alpha into your portfolio. We're also there to support each other in that process as well. And if you guys, last thing, want to learn about technical analysis yourself, learn how to trade using technicals using the Bread recipe, learn how to trade using options, there's some coursework through Stockmo Academy. That link is also in the description. Code word doctor saves you a ton of cash. Bundling those courses saves you even more cash. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the big announcement. What do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be something that is going to affect the market? Will the market go wildly bullish because of it? Let me know. Check out the links in the description. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.